Welcome to Selwyn House School's first Old Boys Association Town Hall presentation. Selwyn House is currently in contact with over 3,000 Old Boys in 39 countries. During this presentation, you'll hear from Michael Avedisian, class of 1988, and the current chairman of Selwyn House Association Board of Directors. Hal Hannaford, the headmaster of Selwyn House School. Michael Downey, the head of senior school and the incoming headmaster of Selwyn House School starting in June 2020, and Joshua Weisenthal, class of 1999 and the current president of the Old Boys Association Board of Directors. This webinar is pre-recorded, so any questions or comments that you may have can be emailed to townhall@selwyn.ca, and the answers will be posted on the Selwyn House School website for everyone to see. The email address will be visible on the webinar screen during the presentation. I am pleased to introduce to you now our first speaker, Michael Avedisian.
Hello, Selwyn House Old Boys around the world. I hope you're all staying well during these unprecedented times, adjusting to social distancing and spending quality time with loved ones. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mike Avedisian. I graduated in 1988 and joined the SHS board a few years ago. I so loved my time at Selwyn that I wanted to give back. I have 3 boys, 2 currently at Selwyn and a recent graduate. The role of the board of directors is to help carry out the mission of the school, to oversee the school's strategy and ensure the financial health of the institution. It is comprised of 15 members, 8 of whom are currently Old Boys. The president of the Old Boys Association is a member virtue by his office. We meet monthly with management to discuss strategic plans as well as long-term and short-term objectives. A major focus of the board in the last 2 years was the decision to drop provincial education grants. In giving up grants, the school would be free to accept students who don't currently meet provincial eligibility criteria, thus effectively making the school more accessible to more students who are seeking the Selwyn House Veritas education. The board was working hard to ensure that releasing the grants would not translate to undue increased tuition for our families. Last year, we launched a major fundraising campaign to offset the loss of grants. However, in the current COVID-19 crisis situation, we did not feel it appropriate to solicit our community. The endowment campaign is presently on hold. After 11 years as headmaster, Hal Hannaford will be retiring at the end of this year. So the board assembled a search committee to find our next head. Following a 9-month search with the help of a consulting firm, the committee recommended current head of senior school and assistant headmaster, Mike Downey. This was unanimously accepted by the board. Mike has spent the past 30 years of his career at Selwyn House. The announcement of his appointment was enthusiastically received by the Selwyn House community, including many of you Old Boys who sent Mike their well wishes. In order to best serve the needs of the school, the board has several committees that work within it. Each board member is assigned to 1 or 2 committees. This is how the work is broken down: finance, fundraising, governance, marketing and communications, and strategic planning. We are fortunate that our board members come from many different walks of life. They bring their wealth of experience in guiding Selwyn House through their energetic contributions. All decisions are made with students, parents, and faculty's best interest in mind. Like every institution on the planet, Selwyn has had to adapt quickly and efficiently to the current COVID-19 situation. The board's role has been to support the school's management team in shifting to an online learning model, which we dubbed the Continuous Learning Plan. A small group of board members and senior management from the school met regularly to make sure we were best meeting the needs of students, parents, and faculty. Thank you for taking the time to watch this message. The Selwyn House Old Boys Network is an incredible community with almost 3,000 members around the world. I'm still in close contact with many of my Selwyn classmates and cherish those unique bonds to this day. In these uncertain times, I hope you will connect with the Old Boys community via their portal. As well, please do not hesitate to be in touch with the school and the board. Be well.
Great to see everybody. For those that I can see, even though it's a little virtual, but just want to give everybody a little update about what has transpired at Selwyn House over the last couple of months. It's actually been 6 weeks since we have created this new paradigm of learning, not just for us, but of course for the entire world. We started meeting on Saturday, March 14th. Susan and I had returned from Europe, London and Paris. We actually came back a little early, but we were over there for our old boy reunions, and very successful old boy reunions in Paris and London. But we got back here, and then the entire senior team, we met on that Saturday morning to start planning for what we were going to do. And at that meeting, we, in very true Selwyn House fashion, we quickly established that our Veritas vision and mission and commitments, which are well documented, would guide our decision-making through this whole process. I will really say that's the value of having really strong guiding vision, mission, commitment principles. They really help you get through this. And we certainly had those at Selwyn House. So we established basic tenets, which were known and loved, support, relationships. And we made very clearly, we established the fact that community would be our top priority. And it still is our main priority. So when you combine that with our adherence to that vision and mission and our commitments, we believe our plan has really worked. And in particular, in our strategic map, we have 3 enablers that really are our guiding force of everything we do at Selwyn House. And there's no different to the time we're in right now. And those 3 enablers are, of course, our best practice for boys, the small school advantage, which is all about relationships and the known and loved concept, and then the whole element of faculty culture. And we must always remember, as we remind everyone, particularly we remind every single teacher and faculty member at this school, is that relationships are the medium by which boys learn best. And we know now that there's just no doubt about that. So we always have to keep reminding ourselves, and we can't lose the relationship, even though we've gone into a mode of distant learning. We've come a long way in 6 weeks. And part of that reason we've come as far as we have come is that we had a very intentional, gradual, and evolutionary approach to this. Our mission and vision, as I say, led our program. We knew we had to take our time, be very careful, and we had to keep that main focus on community. So we knew, just being really clear about that, if we did not have a main focus on community, we would not be able to flourish. We had other strategic components such as communication, data collection, the actual e-learning program, and then financial considerations. And they're all important and they're all very crucial. But again, those must play second fiddle, and we made them second fiddle to the strategic importance of community. So I'm going to repeat that again, because I want to be really clear. It was really the guiding force, and I think it's something as old boys you should be pretty proud of. Without a focus on community, all those other strategic elements would suffer and they would flounder. But if we kept the focus on our community, what was right for our community, we knew that those elements would actually flourish. And quite frankly, it's pretty clear after 6 weeks that our strategy has indeed worked. From a communication point of view, the central vehicle remains our Selwyn House at-home website. It continues to develop, and it's settling down, but it's really quite dynamic. And I would encourage you all, as old boys, you might have some real fun. If you go onto the Selwyn House website, right at the top, there is a bar that you can click onto the Selwyn at-home website and just explore it. It's pretty easy to navigate, but you'll get an idea of everything that's going on from the elementary school, middle school, senior school. There's tons of fun stuff. There are parent resources, teacher resources. There's a whole description of community in action, what the staff are doing at home. There's everything about counseling, about all the support services, but it's really fascinating. I encourage you all just to get a real handle of what we're doing. From a data collection point of view, what was really crucial to us is we've surveyed our staff and faculty and our students, grade 5 to 11, on a weekly basis. So every week we've been very consistent. From a staff and faculty, it's very interesting to know that now across Canada, 95% of the heads that run leading independent schools in the CAIS across Canada have identified as mental wellness for staff and faculty as the #1 issue they're dealing with now. That's 95% of heads have said that is the #1 issue we're going to be dealing with. So to get the information from staff and faculty was crucial to us. Same thing with the students. We also survey our parents on a weekly basis. We've been very, very encouraging. I can tell you that there have been no real surprises from anything we've surveyed with our parents. And again, the information becomes really, really helpful. The e-learning component of what we're doing, I think, is explained really well through that website, and particularly in the academic section, you can get a full idea of what we're doing from an e-learning point of view. And then when we turn to finance, finance is an interesting and a difficult one, and it really involves many, many board decisions who are working very hard on this. So when we talk about tuition abatement, what should we be doing? Staff and faculty contracts for next year, the budget for next year, all kinds of sensitivity analysis. What should tuition level be? We're well on our way in discussing all these things, and those things will be worked out, I would think, in the next few weeks. We're in really good shape. I think that the strength of Samhain House has really come through in these last 6 weeks, and we're very, very proud of the effort that everyone has made. And for me, I mean, the reality is this is my final term. It wasn't exactly the way I had planned my retirement year or my last few months, but to be honest, it's been kind of exhilarating. It's forced me to be totally engaged. I will be working as headmaster of Selwyn House until my very, very final day. And actually it's been about as good as experience as I could possibly have hoped for. The other thing is this, you know, they say it takes a crisis to find out how good you are. Well, I'll tell you something. The senior group here, our faculty, our staff have risen to a level that is beyond any expectations I could have had for them. They have been really, really incredible. And when you think about the future and how we pave the way for the future, it's just in terrific shape. So look, I've really had a fulfilling and rewarding career. It's been 31 years as a head of CIAS schools for me, 11 years at Selwyn House, a really return home for me. And again, I'll be working hard until I have no choice, but I'll be going right until my final day. And then what is so comforting to me, I know we are just in phenomenal hands with Mike Downey as the new head. Mike is already, I mean, the work he's doing in terms of preparing for his first year, the 2020-21 school year, it'll be a challenging year, but I know with Mike, it's so well organized and it looks like it's going to be a phenomenal time. So I couldn't be more relaxed at the fact that I know the school is in such great hands with Mike. And therefore, it is only appropriate that you hear from the new headmaster in about 2 months, Mr. Mike Downey. Thanks, everyone. God bless. Good luck. I'm going to miss you all, and hopefully we'll be able to touch base really soon. And Mike Downey, it's over to you.
Hello, gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Hannaford or Hal, not just for the nice introduction, but for the last 11 years of superior leadership at the school. I have been so fortunate to have had the opportunity to work and learn from him during that time. I'd also like to thank Jamie McMillan for organizing this town hall, allowing me to speak, and for his many years of service to Selwyn House. I'd like to publicly thank the Old Boys and their network. The outpouring of support that I received when the announcement of my appointment was made was overwhelming. I was truly touched by all of your emails, phone calls, texts, social media messages, and those who dropped in person. But please let me digress a little bit. When I think back to the spring of 1990, when I was first offered a teaching job at Selwyn, I was a keen 23-year-old looking for a way to stay in Montreal at a time when there were very few jobs. Although I knew very little about Selwyn House, everyone I met talked so highly of this school and the graduates produced, and that made me feel very excited to begin. I then think back to my first group of grade 10s. Now, I won't mention any names, but they know who they are. And if you're doing the math, those guys graduated in 1992. I started to wonder, what had I got myself into? However, looking back, I'd really like to thank those special students. They actually helped shape who I am today. I've seen several of them over the years, a really good group of guys. But as the saying goes, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And let's just say that year I gained much strength. I think to the early years of robotics with Mr. Moffat and the team, we had some great time going to places like Scarborough, Hamilton, and Brampton. Running the Ball Hockey League for years was a huge highlight for me. We were the first group or team of any kind to have their own blog where we had stats, highlights, and journal entries, which upon reflection, I now realize perhaps a few of those nicknames were inappropriate. Sorry about that, guys. My 20 years of coaching football with Mike Morovich was always a very exciting time for me. Whether we were winning a championship or not, some really great bonding experiences. These are just a few of the many positive memories that I have from my 30 years at Selwyn. What really makes them great are the boys. We are blessed to have some tremendous young men in the school and amongst our alumni. Even, let's just say, the more challenging ones, the ones that really test us, that we do eventually reach, are the ones we really like to brag about. I've always said that kids need a reason to go to school, and academics isn't one of them. Whether it's the hockey team, the debating team, or the drama production, some of our best memories, and probably areas where we've learned the most, were in these extracurricular situations. However, the thing that impresses me most about the school is its community. Most of our boys really enjoy coming to school. We're seeing that right now as our attendance for our online classes is through the roof. We have a bunch of guys who just want to hang out with the boys. Speaking of the current situation, we're now running a series of shortened classes each morning, followed by several activities including assemblies, SED workouts, and even ECAs. Our student newspaper has already published one edition and is working on a second. The yearbook is going full tilt, and our debating team has been practicing and has already competed in a virtual debating tournament. Mike Morovich is currently working on a virtual track and field day for the elementary boys, which is traditionally held in mid-May. There's a lot happening right now, and although we've been doing a lot of planning for the future, I really can't wait to get back to school in the fall. We have hired Mr. Neil Banerjee to become the next head of senior school. He is currently the principal at Kells Academy and was previously an administrator and teacher in the Lester B. Pearson School Board. Carol Manning has decided after 38 dedicated years to hang up her Selwyn tie and spend more time with her husband, Patrick. We've gone through a process and will be announcing her replacement in the next few days. Other long-term members of the community that are retiring include Mr. Brad Moffat and Christine Kruslinski. As this year comes to an end, we're busy preparing for the fall. Brenda Montgomery, our academic director, is working very hard on 3 different scenarios, one of which would be business as usual, the second, which would be completely online, like we're doing right now, and the third option would be a hybrid of the 2. Mike Morovich, our athletic director, is also working on a series of different plans. One would be a return to school with business as usual. One would be to continue online. And one would be where we would be at school, but with a cancellation of all of our fall sports. We believe that there's a decent chance that sports like football will not take place. We know that that case is considering not running any of their national tournaments, such as a U13 or U18 soccer and basketball. This would be a real shame, as these sports and trips for many of the boys are what they live for. We'll have to wait and see, but be assured that we will be prepared for whatever happens and we will make the best of it. Before too long, life will be back to normal, and when it does, several major initiatives are being looked at. We are still considering the possibility of building an art center on the roof of Lucas, and we would love to gain some kind of permanent access to a turf field. We're also looking into restructuring and adding to our student services, which includes our counseling and learning support team. We'd like to become the expert in boys education, not just in Montreal, but in the world. We've been working with the IBSC for many years. They do some tremendous work with regards to boys education, and many of our teachers have worked with the IBSC action research teams. We're hoping to set up our own in-house action research teams to improve our already strong best practices for boys pedagogy that is currently being used. As many of you have heard, we're moving towards dropping of government funding. Financially speaking, this is a big decision, but it is the right one. It will allow us to open our doors to every boy in the city. We'll work very hard to make sure we have a diverse population as possible in the process. This diversity will continue to help us as we strive to make sure that every boy is known and loved and has the best possible school experience. Thank you for your support, and if you're ever in town, please drop by to say hi. I'd like to now turn it over to Mr. Josh Weisenthal, class of 1999, and the current president of the Old Boys Association Board of Directors.
The opportunity to talk about Selwyn House with Mr. Hannaford, Mr. Downey, and Michael Avedisian is something that I consider to be a privilege. And while they may be more focused on keeping you up to date about what is happening currently at the school, The Selwyn House community extends well beyond the current students, their parents, and faculty and staff. As Old Boys, I see us as spokesmen for the school. We represent the core values of the institution in our professional and our personal lives. And in our day-to-day lives, we carry the lessons, experiences, and friendships that we acquired at Selwyn with us. So regardless of what year you may have graduated or when you attended Selwyn, the word Veritas and the Griffin mascot will definitely have some meaning to you. So with over 3,000 members in about 43 countries, the Selwyn House Old Boys Association is an international organization in the truest sense of the word. And I think that our strongest asset as a community is our sense of connectedness, both as individuals and as a group. It's been my experience that when I bump into an old boy of any age around the world, I will be having a great laugh with them pretty quickly about something that only another old boy could relate to. So in the spring of 2020, we as Old Boys all became united by something other than just Selwyn House. We became united by this unique situation of being in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. And while we may be dispersed across the world, I think we're actually more connected as a group than ever. So even though we can't physically gather at events like the golf tournament, the reunions, or the pub nights that we normally see each other at, there's still a lot that we can do both for each other as Old Boys and for the school. So in terms of what we can do for each other, first and foremost, I want to take the opportunity to encourage every Old Boy to reach out to his friends, to his former classmates, to his favorite teachers, and so on. Now is really a perfect time to reconnect and hopefully provide support for each other in what is becoming a very vulnerable time for all of us. One of the most interesting new developments for our Old Boys network is the new OBA website, Selwyn House Connect. It's really easy to sign up for, particularly if you have an existing LinkedIn or Facebook account. And what the site is effectively a personal and professional networking platform limited to Old Boys as well as to current and former faculty and staff. So you can use Selwyn House Connect to find Old Boys who are living in your geographical region or Old Boys who share a similar professional or personal interest to you. What's really cool is that if you're a younger Old Boy, you'll be able to see who may be open to mentoring you. And you'll probably also find out about interesting employment opportunities. So we, as a board, really see Selwyn House Connect as a platform for Old Boys to come together and to support and help each other. As I'm sure you can guess, all of our in-person activities are currently either canceled or postponed. So this unfortunately includes our annual golf tournament, which was scheduled for May 25th at Kanawaki. This was going to be our 22nd annual Old Boys Golf Tournament, and it is our principal fundraiser for the Old Boys Endowment Fund, which is used for needs-based bursaries, as well as to support the Trip Fund, which gives students equal access to school trips when they may otherwise have not been able to attend due to financial reasons. And it also goes to supporting our speaker series at the school. Now, the reason I'm speaking to you today isn't really to make an appeal to Old Boys to donate to our fund. Our principal concern as an organization is everyone's health, safety, and happiness at the moment. But it goes without saying that the loss of the golf tournament will impact our fundraising, which is, of course, an unfortunate twist of irony, given that it happens to coincide with what is sure to be a rise in the need for financial assistance moving forward. One of the best things we can do as Old Boys to help the schools to stay in touch and to be active within the Selwyn House community. So while we won't be hosting any in-person activities, the board of directors is currently exploring how to bring Old Boys together virtually. So some of the ideas that the Old Boys board has already bounced around include virtual pub nights and virtual reunions, an Old Boys gaming group, as well as continuation of our speaker series, which would possibly include professional accreditation for lawyers, accountants, and other old boys who may need continuing education hours for their professions. I also think that there's some interesting mentoring opportunities, given that the school is now operating on a virtual platform. So rather than having to come to the school to meet with students, old boys can now explore the opportunity to provide some kind of online mentorship. So with all that in mind, we'll keep you posted as these new ideas are unveiled and come to fruition. And in the meantime, I just want to encourage everybody to please stay in touch and please stay safe. Thanks.
Thank you to Michael Avedisian, Hal Hannaford, Michael Downey, and Joshua Weisenthal for participating in the Selwyn House School Old Boys Association Town Hall. I want to remind you that you can forward any questions you may have to townhall@selwyn.ca, and each question will be answered and posted on the Selwyn House School website. We will present more town halls as a way to communicate directly with all of the school's constituents, particularly as we cope with the COVID-19 pandemic and how it affects all of our families and institutions. From all the faculty and staff of Selwyn House School, thank you for joining us today. Please remember that during these difficult times when you are taking care of your family and friends, that it's equally important to take care of yourself, and in particular, your mental wellness. Even though you may not have the virus, all these changes in your life can have tremendous effects on you and your family. Take the time to talk to your partner, a classmate, or close friend. Sharing how you feel and learning that others may also have these same feelings may help you gain some strength and confidence to handle all these changes by understanding that you are not alone. Until the next Old Boys Association Town Hall, take care.